Celo Beats Production.
Hello dear viewers, my name is Nino and you're watching Nino's product reviews, and today we're going to take a look at the Foscam R2. Now the R2 is a 1080p indoor camera from Foscam, and the one that's going to be replacing my FI9826P. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment, but first let's unbox this camera and see what we have in here. Now I like how they're making these new boxes look more and more like you're unboxing a phone. The camera is the first thing that's going to be greeting you here in the box, and you see it's covered in different foils. You have an SD card slot on the side, one micro SD actually to be more precise, the antenna entry here, we have also the LAN cable entry, and of course we have a power plug on the back. You have a speaker on top, although the speaker quality and the quality of the microphone are not significantly better than any of the other cameras. Now these two packages in there were a bit hard to pull out, so I just skipped it. I don't want to bore you guys to death here. Let's see what we got in the first one. It should be actually the antenna, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there it is. There's the antenna. And what else? We seem to be having a stand. Okay, so this stand basically will enable you to position the camera any way you like and leave you flexible. You can screw this to the wall. I personally am just leaving the camera like that, standing somewhere, and I believe that the majority of people will also opt out for this option, but you know, it's cool that we have this. We have the power brick over there, a small manual installation CD, I think, maybe too. Let's see, yep, there's the CD, the manual, and a CCTV sticker, which is supposed to warn people that they are being watched and they shouldn't be stealing stuff. And there you have some screws. So that's basically what's in the package. It isn't that much, but it is more than enough for you to start up the camera. Now, I told you I'm going to be comparing it a little bit with the FI9826P, and I have them here standing next to each other. As you can see, the R2 is significantly smaller. I find it very attractive in its appearance. It is slender, and it seems that the trend for these cameras is for them to become smaller, yet at a higher resolution. So what we have here right now is the actual FI9826P. I'm gonna switch to the R2 now, and the first thing that strikes you is the wider angle. As you can see, we can see much more on the screen thanks to 1080p and the lens that is built in. We also have the same mode options here, as well as the same stream options. Well, we can set them up however we want, except that now we have 1080p obviously. And as you can see, motion seems to look very good on it. And naturally we have the mirror and flip function here. I strongly recommend that you use the newest firmware for this one, and then you're going to have exactly the same experience I'm having right now. And if we go back on the FI9826P, we're going to see we have an optical zoom here. You see how smooth and fast the zoom in is. And in comparison, we have only 960p. So I've zoomed into the maximum here. I'm going to now switch to the R2 and zoom in at approximately the same distance using the obvious software zoom, because the R2 does not have a hardware zoom. And as you can see, the results are comparable, if not better. Now it's a subjective thing. Obviously you're gonna have to decide, but thanks to the 1080p, it looks very clear still. It's bright. You can see pretty much everything. And that's pretty impressive, because if you compare, we have optical zoom on the other end. Here we go again. And as you can see, it is truly a different experience with 1080p. I find it appealing much more to me than the 960p, although both are really nice. Now on the R2 we also have an HDR setting, which currently makes everything a bit more grainy but much brighter. Since we have good light situation in here, I don't really need it, but if it was too dark, the HDR would really help. And other than that, we have the settings here with which we control the camera. Of course, we can cruise with the camera vertical and horizontal. We have various presets here. The IR lights can be set up from auto to manual, and we can play around with the colors. I'm not gonna do any of that because I've already set this thing up and I don't want to mess with it. We have multiple options here on how to work with the camera, and if we had several cameras like I did, we could set it up, but that's not necessary in this case, so I haven't messed with it. I'm going to skip most of the boring stuff, like the basic settings, for example, when we set up the name of the camera and the time. And on the network side, however, I'm going to talk about the DNS settings, because in the past this was problematic. You had to use it in order to manage to achieve the option for you to use the camera from outside of your home network. Now this is possible thanks to the cloud service which Foscam offers, and even in its free version, the Foscam cloud still enables you to use your cameras and control them from any network outside of your home. You can have pretty much full control of them. You can see what's happening with a slight lag, but you don't need to bother with any of this DDNS stuff, and that's really great. As you can see, I'm showing you how I'm, for example, doing that from my phone. Next, we're going to go to the mail settings, and the mail settings are very important in case you want to get this email with pictures whenever there's something happening. You should Google your email settings and insert them in here. Obviously, FTP is also a major player here. And we're moving on to the video. Now we have two streams, one main and one secondary. The sub stream, unlike the main stream, should be of lower resolution. You can set up however low you want. And the point of this is that, for example, if you're accessing it from your phone, you don't have the lag I mentioned. Now you saw me at maximum quality, and that creates some lag because it takes time for your phone to receive all the high definition video. Then we have things like timestamp and name of the camera, and the privacy zone. Now the privacy zone, you see I've been playing around with it a little bit, is basically covering up part of your screen. You can do that for several reasons. I want to cover up my head here, so I'm gonna set it up like this. I'm gonna click OK, and my head will be covered up by a black zone. Please be aware that if you pan and tilt the camera, this blackened part is going to move with it. So this is only useful if the camera is really staying in a static position and not being messed around with. Snapshot settings will enable you to manually take snapshots from the software, and it tell the camera where you want it to save these pictures and how high the quality of these pictures should be, as well as you can make the camera take these pictures on certain times and time intervals if you prefer it. The RLED schedule is pretty much something that I'm not playing too much with, but you could tell it start the RLEDs from a certain moment to a certain time, but the automatic works much better, so I'm not messing with that. And here we have the beef of the whole thing, the motion detection. You can select how far the interval should be. That means whenever something triggers it, there will be 15 seconds between each trigger before another trigger can be initiated in this particular settings. Then we have camera and PC sound. This is basically your camera screaming like crazy, your PC screaming like crazy if it's on. So it's going to make a lot of noise and scare people. Then you have the email function, snapshot and interval between snapshots, obviously recording, and push-up message on the phone. Be aware that you're going to need the application for that one. And of course you can set the detection area, and here we have up to 3 various detection areas. I'm just going to remove these for the sake of this demonstration and show you how one can work with them. So we want 3 detection area. We have area 1 here, I'm enabling it, area 2 and area 3. So I'm gonna just randomly put 3 areas, but obviously you're gonna be picking why you want them. And then you have various sensitivity settings. Now we're currently on area 2. I say medium. Let's just say there's somewhat movement, maybe a cat will pass by or something. Zone 3 should be high. That means every movement will initiate an alert, and zone 1 is going to be low. That's how you can play with the area. I personally don't. I just leave it to guard the whole thing. It's an indoor camera. But if, for example, you know, if you wanted specific areas, you can do that. And of course you have a schedule which you can enable to make the camera react whenever a certain time is available. Sound detection is essentially the same feature, just with the difference that it doesn't react to motion but to sound. If someone breaks in your door, the camera is going to start recording, sending messages and everything, just like before. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. And then we have the recording options. Now we have here the recording location, and you can set SD card and FTP, and the local recording location. Local recording means if you connect it to your PC, where it should save that. There are 2 separate ones. Then pre-record, which is very important. It basically means that the camera is going to loop, in this case 5 seconds constantly, and whenever something happens, it's going to attach those 5 seconds to the file. That means that basically you're going to see 5 seconds before someone opened the door and got inside your house when you're looking at the recording. This is extremely useful, and I urge everyone to use it because it's better to see how everything started before the camera actually would have recorded otherwise. Local alarm recording is what I said for the camera to record and save files also directly on your PC. Works only if the PC is on all the time. Here we have scheduled recording, but we need an SD card or a direct FTP server setting. I haven't set it up yet, so you can see it's pretty much standard fare here, but we can't manipulate it because I don't have an SD card or an FTP server setting yet. Pan and tilt speed, pretty obvious. Cruise settings, we can set the cruising speed, the cruising mode, all of these things here. Startup setting is basically where the camera will be looking once it starts. IP filtering, in case you have a firewall, you want to enable one, here you go. and of course the whole firmware download option, which is very convenient. It does it almost automatically for you. It's much easier this way, but I would still inform myself before I do anything there. Other than that, I'm gonna leave you now with a night recording. I can recommend this camera, and I'm gonna replace my FI 9826P with it because I really like it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if that was the case, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support my YouTube channel further, you may click on the Patreon sign on top, or you can also use the Amazon link that I've provided in the description to buy something within 5 minutes after clicking on that link. It really helps me, guys, and I'd be really grateful if you did so. In any case, thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you on the next video.